Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Ross Benjamin of rbwins.com. He's Jesse Shule of jesseshule.com. It's Wednesday the 17th, and we got we have one game we're covering today in the NBA playoffs, the only game being played, the Eastern Conference Finals series opener between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. A lot of intrigue in that series. We did pretty well yesterday, huh, Jesse?
Well, you did better than me, Ross, but I'm not. Who's keeping score, right?
No, team effort. So, yeah, I think we went 4-1 yesterday, and we have one pick pending. Jesse had another winner on his, what do you call that again? The double result?
The double result, and there was a few questions in the chat about where to find it. I can tell you they definitely have it at Bet365. I know that that's not the only book that has this option, but I know for sure you can find it at Bet365.
There you go. So Jesse had the double result with Denver leading at the half and Denver winning the game. That was at odds of minus 125, and he cashed in there. I had the Denver Nuggets to go over their team total of 114. That easily cashed in. I had Denver over the total, the Denver game over the total of 222.5. That game easily cashed as well. And Sean had the over in the Denver game as well. So a good day for the good guys. And that's been quite often these days. Jesse is over the last 7 weeks now. We're close to 60%, just a tad under that. So
I think the most insightful part of yesterday's show, Ross, was when you were quizzing me on why I was passing on the game. And I don't know whether to give you the credit for quizzing me or give myself the credit for predicting what would happen.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that I'm ever quizzing you because I don't think, or I doubt what you're saying is true. I'm quizzing you because I think it's a teaching point for the audience out there. And your explanation of why you did not take Denver yesterday when you saw the line go from 4.5 to 6 certainly was a textbook condition as to why, as the game landed right on 6. So,
and if I'm not incorrect, I think probably by the time that viewers would have watched the show, they were probably more likely to get a 6.5 than a 6.
Yeah.
Closing line. We could check that out, but certainly there were guys that had 6.5 and lost with 6.5 yesterday.
And some that won as well. So in any event, you were prophetic there yesterday, Jesse. We're going to be covering today's Boston and Miami game, and we look forward to doing that. Jesse, how you been doing of late, and what you might have coming up?
Well, it was a rough day for me yesterday. I went 0-2 with my premiums for clients, but still firing away at close to 60% for the year. So no complaints. Feel good about the picks today and moving forward. And I'm going to have a promotion coming up for June, July, August. And I don't know if you remember it last year. We call it the Dog Days of Summer promotion. And what we mean by the Dog Days of Summer is, nothing but baseball for most handicappers throughout that time period. But for me personally, I'm heavily into CFL, heavily into soccer, and I have historically done very well in the summer. And that's something I'd like to promote. And that's something that you can look forward to as of June 1st.
There you go. One of the best handicappers in the country, hitting over 60% since January 1st of 2022. And look forward to that promotion from him. And you guys should look forward to it as well, because it's an affordable price and it gets you in the door to some pretty good handicapping from one of the best in the business in Jesse Shule. You can find Jesse at jesseshule.com. You can find me at rbwins.com or rossbenjaminsports.com, whatever you prefer. And folks, like I told you yesterday, I wouldn't bet against me in the NBA playoffs, and I would think twice about passing on any of my picks in the NBA playoffs. My premium paid selections ended up being on the over yesterday in the game 1 of the Denver and Lakers series. That game easily sailed over the total. As a matter of fact, went over the total with about 7 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. Those are always nice. And that makes my NBA playoffs now 32-18 NBA postseason when you're counting the play-in tournament. And that's good for 64%, folks. And I know I didn't have a side yesterday, but keep an eye on my NBA sides during the postseason have gone 28-11, which is good for 72%. And I'm on an all sports run right now of 7-1 since last Wednesday. Been very selective on what I put out, but the games have been hitting. That's rbwins.com. All right, let's get to the game at hand, Jesse. Miami and Boston. Game 1 at TD Garden in Boston, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time scheduled tip-off for tonight. Right now, as we speak, I'm seeing an 8 and an 8.5. Actually, mostly 8s. I just see 1 8.5 at Bet Online, 1 8.5 at Bookmaker, but the most of these sports books have Boston at -8, and just about all of them have 211 as a total, Jesse. So take it away and tell us who you like in this game, and steer the subscribers into some more winners.
Sounds good, Ross. Well, I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to sports and sports podcasts. I only have two other interests, Ross: the gym and eating. And when I'm at the gym, I can still listen to podcasts about sports betting. And when I'm eating, I can still listen to podcasts about sports betting. So I consume a lot of information.
And when you're doing podcasts, we don't want you to have something cooking on the grill. Anyway, go ahead, Jesse. Long story.
So I was watching a famous podcast just yesterday, and they were talking about the Miami Heat. And they were talking about how lucky they are to be here and the circumstances that got them here. It was mentioned that Milwaukee was a fraud, and Giannis got injured in game 1. And so they were lucky to get past Milwaukee, and they were lucky to get past the Knicks. And it got me thinking, there's a really famous quote: once is luck, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern. And this is not luck. This is not a coincidence. This is the 3rd time in 4 years that the Heat find themselves in this position. Last year, they took this Celtics team to a 7th and deciding game that was decided on the final shot. Jimmy Butler could have pushed his team to the finals for the 2nd time in 3 seasons, mind you, because this Heat team went to the finals in 2020, led by Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, Bam Adebayo, and a few of the other role players that still exist on this team. But really, it's all about Jimmy Butler for me. This guy has carried this team, and you look at what he's done in these playoffs, and you think to yourself, has he given you any reason to think he can do it again? Absolutely. So I'm a believer in this Heat team. I look at the line. They're giving you 8, 8.5. They're begging you to take Miami. And I realize in a game 1, we could easily see it. The points won't matter, but I'm a sucker for this. I'm going to take the points. But what I like a lot better, Ross, is the series handicap. I was looking at that this morning. You can get Miami now at +2.5 games, -140 at Bet365 on the series handicap. And that means if the Celtics don't win in a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, you cash that bet. Miami has to win 2 games. And in my opinion, with Jimmy Butler, in my opinion, the best player in this series, certainly with the most proven playoff prowess, certainly the best player in last year's series, I think Jimmy Butler can steal a game. And then you have the coaching advantage, Eric Spoelstra. I think Eric Spoelstra's superior coaching can steal them a game, and they only need 2 games to cash that bet. So I will give out 3 plays for the game 1 and series combined. The 3rd one will be Jason Tatum. He did score 51 points in game 7. I did give out a pick on this show for him to go under his points total in that game. And you might think, well, I screwed that up, but I didn't really screw that up. That went according to plan because I gave out the under and I gave out 4 player props. I cashed 2 of the 4, cashed the under, minimal profit, but every profit is welcome when you're sports betting. But Tatum coming off a 51-point performance in a game 7, this is a situation that sets up a letdown, in my opinion. A 25-year-old kid, he's starting to like his own smell a little bit too much. At the end of the day, he averaged 29 points per game against Philly. He averaged 27.2 points per game in the previous series against Atlanta, and he only averaged 25 points per game in last year's series against these Heat. If you add it all up, all his playoff games, there's certainly a lot more of them that went under 29 and a half than went over. So we're going to take Jason Tatum under 29 and a half total points. We're going to take the Miami Heat on the series handicap plus 2.5 games minus 140. And we'll take the 8 or 8.5, whatever you want to give us, Mr. Benjamin.
Well, I mean, I'm going to give you 8.5 because I always profess we need to shop for lines. And if you're shopping for lines, Bet Online has 8.5 right now. So we're going to give you the 8.5. So there you go. Miami plus 8.5 over Boston in game one. Jason Tatum to go under 29.5. Is it, Jesse, or 29? 29.5 points scored. And the Miami Heat plus 2.5 in the series. Quite frank, what all that is saying is if Miami wins 2 games in the series, you cash the bet, and that's at money line odds of minus 140. So it was, I'm sorry, what was the over and under on that? It was Miami plus 2.5 games, right?
Yeah, plus 2.5, minus 140. And that's basically a bet on the series to go at least 6 games.
Yes.
Well, I mean, actually, Miami could sweep them. I mean, Miami just has to win 2 games.
Miami has to win. If Miami wins 2 games in the series, you cash your ticket, but you're going to have to lay 140 to win 100 to do that. Okay. So there you go, folks. We've been cashing tickets right along here. No double result from Jesse today, but he is giving you some nice stuff to work with in the series, starting with taking the Heat in game one plus 8.5. And then Jason Tatum, he likes him after that 51-point performance to have a little bit of a letdown in 29.5 is a high number. So he's going under 29.5 for Jason Tatum in terms of points scored. And then the Miami Heat to win at least 2 games in this series. So there you go, folks. That's from Jesse Schul. And if you've been following us right along, Jesse's been a consistent winner on this program. Or if you've been following him on his premium picks at jesseschul.com or even over at sportsmemo.com, you can see Jesse all over the leaderboards as always. Speaking of which, I'm number 1 at Sports Memo in the NBA postseason right now. And I got a comfortable lead, if I'm not mistaken. I know Jesse's just behind me. Joey D'Amico's up there, but I'm number 1 at the present time. So hopefully I can continue all that winning for my clients and for you folks out there through the remainder of the playoffs. All right, my pick in this game, Boston and Miami. I'm going to look at the total in this contest, which right now is 211. I had a good angle yesterday on the total that I recited right here on the program, and I'm going to have a similar type betting angle today. I had the over yesterday, and I used that as a premium pick as well. And I like the over again today in this game. And again, folks, it's the Boston coming off a 7-game series is the key here. Anytime you have a playoff home team playing in the opening game of a series, they're coming off a 7-game series. Since 2014, those home teams have gone 11-1 to the over, and the numbers really line up. The average total in those 12 games was 210.8. Right now it's at 211, and the average amount of points scored combined in those 12 games, 218.7, which adds up to easy wins. So again, let me repeat that again. Any game 1 home team coming off a 7-game series has gone 11-1 over the total since 2014, and that's actually improved to 7-0 over the total since 2017 as well. So real good stuff there. And also Boston coming off back-to-back unders in games 6 and 7 of the Philadelphia series, and the Celtics have gone 6-0 to the over in their last 6 following back-to-back unders. Both meetings in Boston this year between these teams went over the total with an average combined score of 245.5. I know it's a playoff game, and defense tightens up a lot for every team in the playoffs. But as we saw last night, it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes defense is an afterthought, like we saw last night in the Denver and Lakers game. And I think it's going to be somewhat the same here. I'm not predicting for a game to be in the 250s or high 240s like we saw last night, but I do like this game to go over the total of 211. So Boston and Miami over 211. That's it for me today. And then Jesse, repeat again, Jesse, your 3 picks, and we'll sign off.
We're taking the 8.5 points with the Miami Heat for game 1. We're taking under 29.5 total points for Jason Tatum, and we're taking the Miami Heat plus 2.5 games for the series at minus 140 at Bet365. And that is 3 plays, and let's hope to win at least 2 of them.
All right, so Boston, Miami over 211 for me. Jesse's 3 plays, that adds up to a 4-0, folks. We went 4-1 yesterday. There's nothing over the last 7 or 8 weeks now that would lead you to believe we're going to go south anytime soon. So again, and don't forget our premium picks, Jesse Shule at jesseshule.com, Ross Benjamin at rbwins.com. You can find us both at sportsmemo.com. We're up right there on top of the leaderboards in the NBA and also in all sports as well. So Jesse, always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll be back tomorrow. Sean Higgs was scheduled to be with us today, but Sean had a family commitment that came up this morning that he needed to address. So, of course, Sean is always excused when situations like that comes up, as well as anybody else on the program. And we wish Sean and his mother all the best, as his mom had to have a medical procedure this morning, and we hope all goes well. And we hope to have Sean back with us tomorrow as we go over game 2 of the NBA Western Conference Finals between Denver and the Lakers. Folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, take a second to do so. You'll see the Winner's Circle logo right on the bottom right-hand corner of your page. Just hover over that. A subscribe button will come up. Hit the subscribe button, and then while you're there, make sure you hit the alerts bell in your settings, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our Winner's Circle sports betting podcasts going up on this channel. And the like button. Jesse, what do we like to tell the folks to do with the like button?
Well, everybody by now should know that you got to smash that like button.
There you go. Smash the like button, folks. In any event, for Jesse Shule and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care and God bless, folks.